at Mercy's Corner, the voice of the community. Here we are.
We're back in the office like we never left with a special guest that she is running for the city of Miami. Another woman.
Yeah.
And Republican. Your name is?
Alyssa Crocker.
Do you want to talk a little bit about your background before we ask you all these questions?
Sure. So, as I was actually just telling you, when I came in here, this all really started after my father was killed due to egregious and unconscionable medical negligence at North Shore Medical. Incredibly intentional, admitted negligence. And no matter what evidence I had, despite the recordings of them admitting to it, despite the fact that my father's body went missing for a week, his organs were taken against my will, there was nothing I could do. I couldn't sue. Nobody was ever held accountable. And then I realized how serious this problem was, because if it happened to me and to my father, this is what they're doing to everybody else too. So I started to do research into them and started to talk to people in the community and looking for any potential attempts at suits. And I started reaching out to all the families. And so I started advocating for my father, for justice, and for these families. So now I advocate alongside for families throughout all of Florida for the legislation. They call it the Florida Free Kill Law. So I did that in 2024. It didn't make it past the first Senate committee. And this year during session, it passed with almost unanimous, overwhelming bipartisan support in the House and the Senate. So when that happened, about a month later, DeSantis unfortunately vetoed the bill with several lobbyists who were huge proponents of it. It was the most controversial bill of sessions, probably. And I was like, well, people are dying. I have to do something. So I filed my candidacy because I decided that, we're going to bring the bill again. We actually are right now. I just got back from the Capitol and it passed its first House committee already just during pre-session, 16-2.
Congrats.
Thank you. So in the meantime, I'm like, these are lives that are being lost, being taken, and I couldn't stand for it. So I filed my candidacy because I knew that no matter what, I had to protect people and I wanted to fight for everybody. And so I'm like, I can't save all of Florida right now, but I do know where there is a major problem, and everybody knows there's a problem, but they don't know why the problem exists. They say,
or they do, and they're scared to speak about it.
Correct. And unfortunately, it's always don't take me to North Shore, take me to Jackson, the death hospital, go in with a headache, come out on life support. Nobody should be scared to seek emergency care. And this hospital serves low-income minority communities. These are vulnerable communities, and they do not have equal access to quality care. And so people continue to be killed and they continue to be injured, and that's really what led me here, because I really just wanted to make sure that I could save as many people as possible until I get this bill passed again and hopefully signed by DeSantis.
It will, because that's not the only hospital that does. There's a
so
lot
many
of hospitals. I worked in a hospital here in Kendall for 10 years, and there was a lot of stuff that I saw that it shouldn't have happened. So I know what you're talking about. I think we saw you in a couple debates, and one of the debates I post a video of you talking about this, and a lot of people DM me saying, is she she's running for mayor to get vengeance, like to go after each hospital? Why are you didn't start as a commissioner and then go up to as a mayor?
So mayor, honestly, I know that the commissioners really do have the power, and the mayor is more of a veto, but there's also a lot of corruption throughout, and having veto power and being able to advocate for good policies and good programs within the city is so necessary, because as one commissioner, I can suggest something and the other commissioners may not go for it. They may not be up on it. But as the mayor, maybe they'll be more interested in being up on this bill. You know, they might have a better interest in being up on the policy or the proposal. And then if something is put into place, any legislation is put into place that is not good, having that veto power is important, because I know there's really not a lot of trust left in City Hall for residents. So I certainly that, and just being able to bring, you know, like this program here for mobile health units that I want to see, you know, being able to advocate and speak on that, and hopefully they or the commissioners would pick it up.
Right? But it's not, they're like, there was someone asking me, oh, is this like revenge that she wants to become the mayor? She's going to come after each hospital? Is this like a revenge for you to become the mayor?
I can't get revenge. There's really nothing I can do to get revenge. It's more of it's about accountability. It's about transparency. It's about justice, and it's about saving lives and protecting people who need to be protected. It's about being a voice for every family, for every person. The people who need to be heard the most are always the ones who are silenced. And I don't like to be silent. I certainly speak my mind about every little injustice. I'm so great about getting outraged.
Me too, sis. I have a big mouth, but sometimes I'm like, oh my god, my mouth is gonna get me in trouble. But oh well, that's how I always been like that since I was little. I was always the one that's telling the teacher, no, I don't think that's right.
And here you are with the podcast, and you report on so many important topics throughout Miami.
Thank you. So, when you did your papers to become the mayor, did you get any support from anybody from the Republican Party?
I called, the first person I contacted was Senator Pizzo's legislative aide during session this year, Jalen. And I said, I'm going to file my candidacy, but before I do, will you be on my campaign team? Because I feel like I really need you. And he was like, absolutely. So at that point, that's all. I'm like, I have Jalen. I've got it. You know, I have so much confidence in Jalen, and Jalen has so much confidence in me because we worked so closely together during session, and he was so supportive. And you know, Senator Pizzo was super helpful during session. So I really, honestly, I push forward no matter what. I'm like,
I see you passing cards, even with your son. I saw you. Okay, so let's talk about this that I'm very interested in your mobile health unit program. What is this about?
So what it would be are mobile units. So if you think about, you know, when you like see the vans and you can give blood at them and whatnot. So it's a similar setup, but also with the idea of like an urgent care. So a lot of hospitals, you're seeing the issue with patients getting the bare minimum, sometimes not even, where there is a diagnosis and it could be treated, the problem could be fixed, but they just don't run that extra lab because the patient's uninsured or underinsured. And then you also have these long wait times in emergency rooms, understaffed in the hospital, and so people are not getting the quality of care. And then you also have these negligent hospitals. So what this would do is kind of take away where you have people going in there for primary care reasons. I need a physical, or I have a headache, I have a cold.
Right.
Well, this way we start off with a mobile unit, you know, and it will go certain days a week here, Liberty City, Little Haiti, Overtown, to the lower income neighborhoods who really are struggling with equal access to quality care. And this is something that they wouldn't need insurance for, and they wouldn't be charged for. And they would be able to, you know, do basic things like get a physical if the kid needs a physical for school, or STD testing, like HIV testing. I know we have STDs run rampant in Florida. We have a really high rate of STDs.
We do. I did a couple months ago a sit down with Survivor Pathway organization that when he told us the numbers, I was like in shock.
Scary.
It's very scary and frightening.
Yes,
and what bothered me the most that no political gets involved to help that good organization. So that was something that you probably will collab really good with.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah.
I would.
So the mobile, who's gonna pay for all this?
So I actually have there's quite a few options here, and I know this. It would take forever to name all of them to you because
isn't it better just to have more urgent care centers?
That would cost a lot more money. So with these mobile units, one thing that we would hire on is an APRN so that they can oversee, these basic care without having to have a full-on physician for every single, person who walks in there. But we'd also do a lot of volunteer work. So similar programs like throughout colleges. So we could offer credits like internships. Oh,
yeah, like community hours too.
Yes, and then, retired nurses or doctors who would volunteer for that. And pretty much college students or recent graduates, and then they community service, things that look good on their record. So we're, and then they're also they're getting training and they're working, and this is a great experience for them, and it looks great on their resume. Beyond all of that, that's another plus. So it would be a lot of volunteer base. I would be looking into the different hospitals because this would benefit them. Like I said, it would take away from a lot of that ER traffic that they're seeing, all of that congestion, the pile up of people that they can't get to, and it would allow for them to have more time to treat them. So they could donate little different supplies, and that would reduce the cost from the city. It would also make it to where maybe they might volunteer their services, their time occasionally, because it's good for everyone at this point.
Yeah.
So we would have that, so essentially like P3 partnerships, there could be like nonprofit organizations. There's different grants, federal and state grants that actually specifically would go towards funding a mobile health unit. So there's a lot of options. It's probably like 7 to 10 pages of the different funding options, but it would actually end up saving several $1 million of our budget, and it would be opening up a safe option for people in these communities, an option that isn't there already that they do need, and it would help all the people who are under and uninsured, and really it helps. It's just one step in the right direction to save some lives.
Yeah. Okay, so I do have I'm a little bit with how are you going to pay for this? This is what my concern. You're saying that it's going to be, nonprofit, right?
So it would be through the city, but we could partner with nonprofit organizations, partner with hospitals, partner with different advocacy groups, organizations.
It's just that Miami right now, we need a mayor to tighten up the money before doing stuff like this. Would that be affected with the budgets in the city?
It would save money in the budget.
Okay. As long as they're saving.
Don't remember the specific number, but I know I have the full fiscal impact statement there, and I do know it was upwards of between $2 and $3 million that it would save.
Okay.
So
now we're talking.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going big fiscal responsibility. Let's name fiscal responsibilities the game.
Yes. Because right now, with all the stuff that's going on with the city of Miami,
the budget
and all this craziness that we
need,
right? So we need I think you plan all this. I think you have to go in and clean house first, and then.
That's for anything that if you want anything done in the city of Miami at this point, you gotta have to start. If you're watching the news, you know what you're talking about. It's pretty much always I feel like I'm going in circles because the answer is to. Got a clean house. You gotta get all that bad out of there and put in some. You have to bring transparency.
Yeah.
You have to hold people accountable.
Yeah.
And you have to have elected officials who want to work for the people, because the government works for the governed. We, the people, are in charge. And for some reason, I feel like our elected officials tend to forget that, where maybe initially they started off for the right reasons. I
Right.
can't say what happened along the way or if they did or not, but they're not in. A lot of them are not in where they need to be.
Yeah.
On the correct page of what the
The
government
city
should
of
be
Miami
doing.
needs a mayor to look at the chief of staff salaries. You know, if you sit each commissioner and you check their staff how much they make, there's something not right.
If you look at their salaries, it doesn't make sense. The city
Yes.
manager's salary
The
is
commissioner
ridiculous.
and their chief of staff, we need someone to do an audit and see where.
Absolutely.
Are you willing to do an audit?
Absolutely. Actually, with the resident and like the worker, the transparency dashboard that I talk about would actually help with that, because not only are we tracking in real time the projects and city contracts and who signed that check, who offered that contract, who got paid. So it's by who to whom. So we're tracking all of that money, but we can also have it where we're seeing where is this money going to the elected officials. And at that point, you know, new city manager, you pick one who is out for the people and who is honest and transparent. And we do internal audits, whether it be quarterly or biannual or even monthly. And then as far as them managing the transparency dashboard and keeping it updated, then as mayor, I could and would go in and make sure to do regular reviews to see that everything is being put in there. And this also opens it up for like the working class families and union and whatnot, because they're not really getting this equal access to contracts because we have these backroom deals and whatnot, and that's no good for the residents of Miami.
Yeah.
It's not good for small businesses and local businesses. It's not good for taxpayers because there are people, companies, corporations, they're getting paid more to get these contracts to do these projects and then you have a union worker or a local business owner who wants to put in this bid or would put in a bid for less, and they're not getting it. You know, sometimes they're not even informed that this is available because it's already been promised to somebody. So it really helps in so many areas, and it brings trust back to City Hall, and it doesn't leave a lot of room for corruption and greed. It really puts the budget on track. You keep up as a resident that you can have a map on there and click specifically the location, like within the city that you live, and see what projects, what contracts are up right there, and an anticipated timeline of start and to finish. So, and then we can have it in like, you know, Creole, English, Spanish. I know for my campaigns I use a service called Weglot, and I think it's like for the first language free for 2 additional languages. I think it's like $20 or $25 a month, which is reasonable, and it translates the entire site.
Yeah.
So now you can have it in 3 different languages for such a minimal fee. So everybody, you know, has access to this dashboard, regardless of what language they speak.
Yeah, I like that. What were you gonna do about homeless?
So I partnered on with Mount Sinai CDC. He was a mentor for my father. His name is Pastor Gary. Currently, he has a location in Pompano Beach, and he has great success with it. So he works with reintegrating felons and, you know, non-violent offenders into the community, with people who struggle with substance abuse, with people who come from low-income areas who can't access housing. And we build houses is what we'll be doing in Miami too as we expand, but there's housing. And even if you live there within the little community, he offers, you know, like substance abuse, counseling, and just mental health counseling, spiritual counseling. He's as I said, a pastor. And so it's also what we want to do is really take that. We were looking at another area in Pompano and Liberty City. Those would be two of the places. Liberty City is our next point where we would like to do this, and we want to put in a little church there we're going to use infill lots, brownfield lots, and we would also put in, there's like when you have the bigger infill lots, you can put in like a little plaza of areas for small businesses within that community. So then you're also opening up job opportunities so that they can create this stable income along the way. We would have specifically access for veterans, because that is across the board a huge problem. Everything that the veterans are
they're the ones that are surviving the most. Most of the homeless are veterans.
And it's so sad.
It is very sad.
They give their lives to our country for us to have the freedoms that we have today. And how can you give your literal life and then just get tossed away? So mental health and veterans and housing for that is definitely a big priority within our housing initiative goals. And then we would also put a small private school in there where it would be like K through 12 for approximately like 500 students, which for, within there, that it's pretty decent. And that way, we're making sure that people can get a good education, because everybody deserves to have a great education.
Of course, yes.
And we're also not just like we're not building mid-rises and high-rises. We're going to build small homes and townhouses. So my investor that I have, who's also, the nonprofit, and then we also have the investor. And he has been doing this throughout the country. I know he did it in Detroit already. He just kind of really likes to give back. And so all we need are the lots, and he's ready to build. He's ready to get it done for everyone. And we're not just offering rentals. We want people to have home ownership. So everybody says home ownership and affordable housing, but that's not the case. You can take a course, attend a course, and it's a few hours, and then you can attend a credit course for a few hours. And I've said this a few times, but you don't just wake up with good credit, and a 4-hour, 2-hour credit class is not going to give you a 750 credit score. You can go to a couple hours of class, but you're not going to be able to buy a house from that class. It's what it is. You remain like stuck in this vicious cycle of poverty and being priced out of your home that you currently are in, or homelessness. And so I know he's spoken with several lenders, banks, credit unions, and whatnot, and he himself, of course, as the investor, is able to assist with that on the side as well. And so this way, they're willing to work with people within these communities to help get them into a house that they can own, something tangible they can call their own, rather than being in the subsidized housing and it's theirs to take care of, and at an affordable rate to what they're used to, because you can't go from living in the projects to just wake up, go get your house, and then be like, oh, I can pay an extra $1,000 a month. Like, you can't do it. So it would also, because he has he builds houses, he has a building company just specifically for this. So the cost to do it is down a lot, because he's doing it he's having it done himself. He's coming out of pocket as just something that he wants to do for the community, to help people, because he grew up in a low income neighborhood.
That's
and so he just really so he just really likes to give back, because he knows what it's like and how hard it was to get there, and he's been blessed, and so he likes to pass on the blessings. And honestly, it's been a blessing to have met him.
Yeah, that's pretty nice of him.
Yeah, so that is certainly my goal. And not just in Liberty City, we want to do this throughout South Florida. So like I said, it's Mount Sinai CDC already has this started in Pompano. We want to do the first one in Liberty City, because every other lot is just, there's a lot that can be done there.
Yeah.
And this way, you don't have to worry about the gentrification as well. So we're not pushing people out.
Right.
So that makes it, the people who live there, we're just giving them a better option that is within their budget. So I want to start there. That's where we've really been looking at the lots. I know I've reached out to a couple legislators, and I've been speaking with people, saying like, hey, how am I supposed to get these lots? Because that's what the city has, these lots that they can give you for a reduced amount or for free if you build affordable housing on it. Unfortunately, we're not seeing that. We're just seeing affordable housing. I'm going to quote that right there, affordable housing being built within neighborhoods.
And that's called affordable housing.
Right, and I'm like, they're just mid-rises, high-rises, and they're just, it just increases the cost for the people who do live there, which is the issues that we are seeing, which contributes to the homelessness as well, because people are priced out, and you have these legacy homeowners who are just, they where do they go from there?
Yeah.
You can't go from being in this house for years and years, for like 20 years, 30 years, or being elderly. You've had this house forever and you've paid this much, and then nope, sorry. Well, we built a mid-rise, and now here come the hipsters.
Hopefully, DeSantis approves the taxes, removal of the taxes.
Yeah,
that'll be a little bit of help.
Did you see? Speaker Perez, actually, he has a property tax program he just came out with. And so it's actually, instead of the legislators deciding, he said, we trust voters to vote for us, so let them vote for it. So I don't know the specific number of policy or bills that have been brought by the reps, but there's at least 10 different policies. And they all have different approaches, and it's I was looking into it, and he said it doesn't have to be just the one option, but this way property owners can decide how they want to approach their cost savings and what is the most affordable option for them. And so I know there's some things that that would be essentially taking your payments and expanding them out throughout and then pushing it off towards the end over a certain amount of time, and then different percentages and rates changed, but there's just so many options. And so it's really helpful. It takes a lot off of the cities and the counties who are responsible for that, because now we're like, what? You're the ones affected.
Right.
Here. You are absolutely capable of making the decision. You know what you need. Here are our options. Go vote.
My only concern is if they remove the property taxes, how are the officers, firefighters, schools where they're gonna get the money from?
So this wouldn't. I believe it excludes educational taxes and things like that.
I know we have the lotto. The tolls are probably gonna go higher.
I can't say how it's gonna turn out, because
that's the only concern. No one has explained to me. Yesterday, a lady was telling me, no, they're gonna from the lottos. I'm like, I don't play the lotto, so that's so.
We shouldn't be gambling to begin with. But
that's neither here nor there. Someone just won a lot of money and cost in my house, so I'm like, damn, I have to start playing.
I tell myself that all the time, and then the one time I did it, I bought it was during COVID, and I was so bored, and I bought the entire box of scratch-offs, actually.
Oh.
So there were 200 or 300 in a box. I did not have one winner. And I was never again. This is my one strike.
That's the only concern I have. If they remove the property taxes, how are officers, if they're struggling now, how they're going to survive, without the property taxes in schools. If schools are public schools, some of them are great condition, some of them are really bad condition. How they're gonna? That's the only thing that my concern. If they tell me no, we're gonna get money from somewhere else, I was like, okay, I'm the first one to sign it. But that's my only concern.
So I know I was saying with this program proposal that I was reading on it, like I said, I don't have all of every detail, because there's a lot. Like I said, there's a lot of bills that are up on it. That have been brought for it, but it's not all removing property taxes.
Just moving from 65 older.
Yeah, so there's things for seniors, there's things for pushing payments out and spreading it out through different ways. There's honestly 10 or 15 options. I should have printed it out to show you. There's the next one,
part 2.
Yeah, but it honestly, it seems like a really great idea, because it's not eliminating taxes, and it's just saying what is going to make this affordable for you. There's things that have to do with millage, and there's just so much. I know during session, when my bill was on the floor in the House during session this year, actually Speaker Perez was really excited about the property tax rate that he had brought down to, I believe it was like 4%. I think he said he had gotten it down to, and so I know that they were very excited about that. I don't know specific. I can't say how things are going to go with what DeSantis
we trust
wants.
him. I know that they're going to take care of us.
DeSantis, he's the governor, so he does what he wants to do.
Hopefully, DeSantis approves the taxes, removal of the taxes.
Yeah,
that'll be a little bit of help.
Did you see Speaker Perez? Actually, he has a property tax reform program he just came out with, and so it's actually, instead of the legislators deciding, he said, we trust voters to vote for us, so let them vote for it. So I don't know the specific number of policy or bills that have been brought by the reps, but there's at least 10 different policies, and they all have different approaches. And I was looking into it, and he said it doesn't have to be just the one option, but this way property owners can decide how they want to approach their cost savings and what is the most affordable option for them. And so I know there's some things that that would be essentially taking your payments and expanding them out throughout and then pushing it off towards the end over a certain amount of time, and then different percentages and rates changed, but there's just so many options. And so it's really helpful. It takes a lot off of the cities and the counties who are responsible for that, because now we're like, what? You're the ones affected.
Right.
Here. You are absolutely capable of making the decision. You know what you need. Here are our options. Go vote.
My only concern is if they remove the property taxes, how are the officers, firefighters, schools are gonna where they're gonna get the money from?
So this wouldn't. It actually, I believe it excludes educational taxes and things like that.
I know we have the lotto. The tolls are probably gonna go higher.
I can't say how it's gonna turn out, because
that's the only concern. No one has explained to me. Yesterday, a lady was telling me, no, they're gonna from the lottos. I'm like, I don't even play the lotto, so that's the only.
We shouldn't be gambling to begin with. But
that's neither here nor there. Someone just won a lot of money and cost in my house, so I'm like, damn, I have to start playing.
I tell myself that all the time, and then the one time I did it, I bought it was during COVID, and I was so bored, and I bought the entire box of scratch-offs, actually.
Oh.
So there were 200 or 300 in a box. I did not have one winner. And I was never again. This is my one strike.
That's the only concern I have. If they remove the property taxes, how are officers, if they're struggling now, how they're going to survive, without the property taxes? In schools, if schools are public schools, some of them are great condition, some of them are really bad condition. How they're gonna? That's the only thing that my concern. If they tell me no, we're gonna get money from somewhere else, I was like, okay, I'm the first one to sign it. But that's my only concern.
So I know I was saying with this program proposal that I was reading on it, like I said, I don't have all of every detail, because there's a lot. Like I said, there's a lot of bills that are up on it. That have been brought for it, but it wouldn't. It's not all removing property taxes.
Just moving from 65 older.
So there's things for seniors. There's things for pushing payments out and spreading it out through different ways. There's honestly 10 or 15 options. I should have printed it out to show you. There's the next one,
part 2.
But it honestly, it seems like a really great idea, because it's not eliminating taxes, and it's just saying what is going to make this affordable for you. There's things that have to do with millage, and there's just so much. I know during session, when my bill was on the floor in the House during session this year, actually Speaker Perez was really excited about the property tax rate that he had brought down to, I believe it was 4%. I think he said he had gotten it down to, and so I know that they were very excited about that. I don't know specific. I can't say how things are going to go with what DeSantis
we trust
wants.
him. I know that they're going to take care of us.
DeSantis, he's the governor, so he does what he wants to do. Probably, I mean, the same thing that's probably, the issue in our government in general is, it's all about dollars, it's all about money. Who's benefiting is what you really got to look at. Whose idea was it? Who did they talk to along the way? Who opposed it? Who was a proponent? Who was an opponent?
Yeah.
Who was up on this? Who wasn't? And how did this go? What kind of support did we see here with this? And then see who's making more money after that. It's really much what it comes down to.
Talking about money, let's talk about some juicy stuff now.
Okay.
Let's talk about the DDA. What do you think about the DDA? The famous DDA.
So this is with the property taxes and whatnot, right? And so really, I am going to be completely honest, not my area of, it's not my area of specialty. So I don't.
At least you're honest.
Yeah. Nothing else. I'm honest.
But if you're honest and you don't know too much about it, are you willing to sit with the presidents, with the concerns, citizens that go to every meeting?
Oh, of course. This is.
My friend James Torres, and sit with him, have a meeting with him to see how you guys can fix that situation, because
that's the only way you can fix problems is really listening. Like I'm always saying, advocacy. I preach it. I'm like, I go back and forth to Tallahassee all the time. I'm traveling all over Florida all the time because I'm always speaking with different people about different issues. And anywhere I go, it doesn't matter if I live there. I'm like, I want to sit down and talk to people, and I sometimes people just need to talk about it.
Yeah. And if you listen to the board meetings, and I'm sure you do, you see how 50 people go to speak, and let's say 45 are talking about the DDA. Something's not right, And then when you look at the salaries that they're making, you're like, oh wait, something's definitely not right. So I think as any person who is the mayor should sit down with them, the concerned citizens.
Absolutely.
And see how you guys can, because I think it's a very unfair tax they're paying.
I would if you tell me first, I would love
if you tell me you're seeing,
tell me everything like I love to hear it all.
Yeah, they're very upset because if they're paying for this high tax and they're not seeing anything. They're telling me the streets, there's no homeless, the streets are flawless, there's no potholes. When it rains, it doesn't flood in Puerto. We don't have a problem no more with the king tide anymore. Then, okay, they're happy to pay for it. Because that area is, I don't want to say they're rich, but they're better off than someone that lives in Kendall, right? Because Puerto's rents are very expensive. So if they're paying a little bit that fee and they see it, I'm pretty sure they won't complain. I'm 100%. But they're paying this fee, and you can, parking is to park anywhere there. It's expensive,
$20 to park in a parking garage for like
30,
an hour.
For an hour.
An hour. It's insane. I'm like, by the time you've parked, at a few places in a week, you can buy another car.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The king tide problem, floods when it rains, the homeless, the potholes. So if they see all that, I'm sure they won't complain. They won't be going to no more of the board meetings. They'll actually be passing by. Thank you. Thank you for your good job. But it's something that anyone who becomes the mayor or commissioner should get involved with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't disagree with that. So, like you said, I'm gonna be honest about anywhere that I lack knowledge. Of course, I don't want to go.
That's good because that means you're not corrupted.
Yeah, I don't want to go. I can't go into this pretending to know something I don't know, and then I don't want to I don't want to do that to myself. I don't want to end up in a situation where I could make a difference and not ever make the difference because I just wasn't willing to learn.
Right.
And I am Mensa, so I learned very quickly.
Yeah.
Over the 99th percentile, so I learned very quickly.
No, and you can hear everybody's opinions, and you can see because you don't know so much about it. So if you hear the residents, you hear the commissioner, you hear the Suarez talking, then you put everything together, you're like, oh wait, something's not adding up. So when it's a fresh mind that doesn't know what's happening, the opinions is better, and you can do more stuff.
And it's very easy to connect dots that way.
Correct.
I like to really, I want to hear the stories for people who oppose and propose these things. But on what you would assume is the wrong side of the politics of things, I love to look into that side of it, because you also have, when you have conflicting views on the political end of things, you have to really look at who is against and who is for, and look at their track record as an individual, as elected official, as a community leader, whatever they may be. And then, citizens, residents, they don't have a reason to lie. They're outraged for a reason.
Right.
So why do you not see this as a problem?
Right.
Is really where it goes to. So of course I would love to sit down and hear from anybody who wants to speak with me. I tell people all the time, I'm like, what's your problem? What's your concern? Tell me, what do you think could fix that? Because there are solutions for most things. Like, when there is a problem, there is a solution.
Every problem has a solution.
Correct. You just really have to be willing to work for that solution. You have to be willing to fight for it, to advocate for it, to look into it, to speak up against the not great individuals who allow it to continue. And I think that's where a lot of shortcomings are in general, like across the board, is where people are just they just don't speak up. And when you have a stage to speak on, when your voice really can make a difference and you can bring change and you don't speak up, the silence
it's
is loud.
hard because they try to censor us a lot. When we go to board meetings in Miami-Dade, we can't speak what we want. We have to go what the agenda says. So if the agenda says purple, you can only talk about purple. Then it sucks because there's people that don't know about that, and they miss a day of work. They go with traffic to the board meetings. They have to pay parking. They miss a whole day of work, and then when they go to talk about green, they're like, no, you can't talk about this.
So I think maybe that, just engagement, community engagement, and information. Knowledge is power. So really making sure residents are informed about all these different things. I know it's very similar in the House and the Senate. You have whichever committee is meeting, whether it be HS or judiciary or whatever, and there are the bills on the agenda, and each bill on the agenda is allotted a specific amount of time. So you might have 10 bills and have an hour and a half, or you might have 3 bills and have an hour and a half. But you never know how many constituents or lobbyists, whoever may come in to speak, or you can choose to waive in opposition or as a proponent. But depending on how many people come in to speak, you start off with 3 minutes to speak, and then sometimes I've seen it drop down to 30 seconds, and then it's just we can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
So people really they need to be.
They do it on the debates on you
stuff.
guys. They cut your. I'm like, oh my gosh, I hate those debates, and they cut them so short.
I'm like, sometimes I feel like I just don't know. I'm like, you know what? Not even gonna get into it. It's
so
too
they
much.
wanted me to ask you what you think about crypto. They want Brickle to be more people want to be invested in more in crypto. What do you think about that?
Crypto. You know what?
I don't know
if people
too much about crypto
if people
either.
want it, I'm all for if this is what people want, go for it. Let the people have it. And I know it's a big thing for a lot of people. I know, especially I know a lot of Republicans like it, so which makes sense for Brickle. So, but I'm not big into crypto. I'm not big into cryptocurrency. It's just really not. I'm cash is king, and I just like my regular. I like cash. I like my debit card, and I like my Amex. But I know as far as crypto goes, I mean, if that's what people want in the area, I don't see the problem with it, except for you're getting yourself involved in a currency that can't be used everywhere. So what do you do when you leave the city of Miami and go somewhere where this cryptocurrency?
I met a realtor that bought her second house with crypto in a meeting in Brickell. I was like, damn.
Because I think they recently, I believe in Miami you can use it.
I think so.
So in Miami, I believe you can use it, but I know that that's not like across the board.
Right.
So that would be my only like hesitation. You know, if that's what you want, like that's your money, that's your choice, that's where you set yourself up at. But you know, like I said, that's gonna fall on each individual. I can't tell people what, you know, if that's how you want to get paid or how you want to buy things. I mean, I don't care. I don't know that we should. I don't know if it's really something that we should be allowing for big expenditures, you know, and when it comes to like a paycheck. I don't know if that's really ideal for individuals. Certainly, I mean, if you buy the house here and you can use the crypto in Miami, then, I mean, congratulations. But
I didn't
that,
even know.
that crypto is not, you can't go to Georgia or something. You know, you can't go elsewhere and do this. So if you
have to probably check out,
so
cash it out, and
right. And what happens when you cash it out and then you have to pay a fee and you lose money because what if that day that you need money? It's just the rates are So it's. I mean, you just have to really be good. You'd have to be really good with cryptocurrency, and it would. I know that's certainly something that requires a lot of vigilance because, you know, just like with stock traders and whatnot, like, I mean, this is something you really have to look at. I don't want to have to do all that for my money. I want to just look at my balance and know that I can use it everywhere.
Yeah. Has the women Republicans, have they called you for the debate? No. I'm a little bit upset with it because even whatever the numbers of the polls is, whatever, you guys are still members. You guys pay a monthly fee, right?
So mine was just like an annual due. They had me.
Well, still, you still pay him. You should got in the first spawns.
Yeah, and beyond, for me, it is crazy that that Gina and I have both paid. But what really is the most unsettling and concerning part is that this is the women's Republican, right?
Correct.
And so this is a conservative women's group, and there are 2 Republican women on the ballot.
That never happens. Never happens.
Honestly, you know,
it happens maybe once in a blue moon.
So there's 2 of us, and so whether we paid dues or not, you're literally an organization, a group that supports women in politics. You support conservative women in politics, in government. You know, you're supposed to elevate us and help us, support us, endorse us, things like that. Not exclude us. Not say, oh, well, you're not as good, you know, you're not as good from who we polled. Who did they poll? Who was involved in the poll, you know? Did you put all the names on the ballot? We don't know because we haven't seen it. What areas of town did you involve in this poll? Like, how many people were involved in this poll when you pulled this? Are we going based off of, like, grassroots, or are we going based off of PACs and campaign donations? And I think we all, you know, how campaign donations go and how PACs go. So, you know, that really, you're really eliminating, like I said, grassroots candidates, people who actually might be capable of bringing the change that we want and need to see.
And your guys are new people, new blood, new ideas. They're not the same people.
The same recycled, I mean, so I'm like, some of these people have been in politics longer than I've been alive. And that's, you know, wisdom and experience is great. But unfortunately, our system is incredibly broken. Broken systems are devastating, and I always say broken systems cost lives. Not just your life, your livelihood, like everything, you know? And so you've been in office longer than I've been on this earth. And where are we right now? We are a global city with local crisis. So what's been done isn't working. It might have worked at one point in time, but it's most certainly not working right now. So having new ideas, having younger candidates, things like that are so important. We can't go and elect 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds. I mean, they're wonderful. Their experience. I don't have bad things to say about these people, but all I can say is that, reiterate really, is that it's not working anymore. And you can give me numbers and statistics about things that you've done and you've accomplished, but more should be done, more could be done. You just aren't coming up with the ideas. You're not coming up with the solutions. And like we just said earlier, is that there are solutions to problems if you really sit down and speak with everybody, listen to everybody, and giving your time to constituents, to residents, and actually listening to them is something that you don't often see when it comes to politicians, elected officials. Schedule a meeting. Well, I can only be here right now. Like you said, I'm here right now. And sometimes they won't make time, or they'll be like, okay, I can give you like 2 minutes or 5 minutes. And it's like, no, I don't want you to just hear me briefly. I want you to feel me. Yeah. I want you to understand what I'm saying. Like, yes, let's speak. Like, I'm a human being and you're a human being. Let's speak like we're neighbors, like we're friends. Like, let's get real right now. I need you to understand the problem. And so you don't see that as much, especially the longer people have been in their careers. It's a little more like, whatever, So excluding us is just mind-blowing, because there are options like the mobile health units that help with our healthcare issues, that help with STD and HIV/AIDS, which is great for the LGBTQ plus community. And it's just, it helps a lot of people. It saves money. Like I said, several million would be saved from the budget, and we're offering all these resources. And, there are federal and state grants available to help fund these things on top of that. So when you see that, and it's like, why hasn't something been brought forward like this? Because it's not a new idea. People have used this. Just like my campaign environmental advisor, she mentioned, in Texas, they have rain barrels. And so we started discussing that one. And I'm like, well, why aren't we doing this? Because then we can use that water, and then we could help water tree canopies, and we could put in more tree canopies. And she travels all over the world. She is an international botanist and conservationist, and she's highly regarded, in the environmental botany eco communities. And so she brings back plants and whatnot, and she also teaches, she does like a virtual classes and like a live kind of like podcast to teach people really. And she like grows plants, and she'll like sell. She like goes to the different expos for to sell them and whatnot. We went to an expo down here. It was crazy, but anyway, I digress. She's like, well, there are specific trees, plants in general that we could be planting. So we have this flooding issue. We could be using plants that are more water absorbing. So there are some that absorb much more water than others. And so if you have these water absorbing native species and we plant those, it's really an investment, because when our environment is, if we destroy the environment, how do we survive?
Yeah, there's a commissioner cutting trees there. Has the women Republicans, have they called you for the debate? No. I'm a little bit upset with it, because even whatever the numbers of the polls is, whatever, you guys are still members. You guys pay a monthly fee, right?
So mine was just like an annual due. They had me.
You still paying. You should got in the first spots.
Yeah, and beyond, for me, it is crazy that that Gina and I have both paid. But what really is the most unsettling and concerning part is that this is the women's Republican, right?
Correct.
And so this is a conservative women's group, and there are 2 Republican women on the ballot.
That never happens. Never happens.
Honestly, it's really it
happens maybe once in a blue moon.
And so there's two of us, and so whether we paid dues or not, you're literally an organization, a group that supports women in politics. Mm-hmm. You support conservative women in politics, in government. You know, you're supposed to elevate us and help us, support us, endorse us, things like that. Not exclude us, not say, oh, well, you're not as good, you know, you're not as good from who we polled. Who did they poll? Who was involved in the poll, you know? Did you put all the names on the ballot? We don't know because we haven't seen it. What areas of town did you involve in this poll? Like, how many people were involved in this poll when you pulled this? Are we going based off of, like, grassroots, or are we going based off of PACs and campaign donations? And I think we all, you know, how campaign donations go and how PACs go. So, you know, that really, you're really eliminating, like I said, grassroots candidates, people who actually might be capable of bringing the change that we want and need to see.
And your guys are new people, new blood, new ideas. They're not the same people.
The same recycled, just, I mean, so I'm like, some of these people have been in politics longer than I've been alive. And that's, you know, wisdom and experience is great. But unfortunately, our system is incredibly broken. Mm-hmm. Broken systems are devastating, and I always say broken systems cost lives. Not just your life, your livelihood, like everything, you know? And so you've been in office longer than I've been on this earth. And where are we right now? We are a global city with local crisis. So what's been done isn't working. It might have worked at one point in time, but it's most certainly not working right now. Mm-hmm. So having new ideas, having younger candidates, things like that are so important. We can't go and elect 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds. I mean, they're wonderful. Their experience. I don't have bad things to say about these people, but all I can say is that, like is reiterate really, is that it's not working anymore. Mm-hmm. And you can give me numbers and statistics about things that you've done and you've accomplished, but more should be done, more could be done. You just aren't coming up with the ideas. You're not coming up with the solutions. And like we just said earlier, is that there are solutions to problems. Mm-hmm. If you really sit down and speak with everybody, listen to everybody, and giving your time to constituents, to residents, and actually listening to them, right, is something that you don't often see when it comes to politicians, elected officials. You know, schedule a meeting. Well, I can only be here right now. Like you said, it means I'm here right now. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they won't make time, or they'll be like, okay, I can give you like 2 minutes or 5 minutes. And it's like, no, I don't want you to just hear me briefly. I want you to feel me. Yeah. I want you to understand what I'm saying. Like, yes, let's speak. Like, I'm a human being and you're a human being. Let's speak like we're neighbors, like we're friends. Like, let's get real right now. Mm-hmm. I need you to understand the problem. And so you don't see that as much, especially the longer people have been in their careers. It's a little more like, whatever, you know. Mm-hmm. So excluding us is just mind-blowing, because there are options like the mobile health units that help with our healthcare issues, that help with STD and HIV/AIDS, which is great for the LGBTQ plus community. And it's just, I mean, it helps a lot of people. Mm. It saves money. You know, like I said, several million would be saved from the budget, and we're offering all these resources. And, you know, there are federal and state grants available to help fund these things on top of that. So when you see that, and it's like, why hasn't something been brought forward like this? Because it's not a new idea. People have used this. Mm. Just like my campaign environmental advisor, you know, she mentioned, you know, in Texas, they have rain barrels. And so we started discussing that one. And I'm like, well, why aren't we doing this? You know, because then we can use that water, and then we could help water tree canopies, and we could put in more tree canopies. And you know, she travels all over the world. She is an international botanist and conservationist, and she's highly regarded, you know, in the environmental botany eco communities. And so she brings back plants and whatnot, and she also teaches, you know, she does like a virtual classes
cool.
and like a live kind of like podcast to just to teach people really. And she like grows plants, and she'll like sell, she like goes to the different expos for, you know, to sell them and whatnot. We went to an expo down here. It was crazy, but anyway, I digress. She's like, well, you know, there are specific trees, plants in general that we could be planting. So we have this flooding issue. We could be using plants that are more water absorbing. So there are some that absorb much more water than others. And so if you have these water absorbing native species and we plant those, it's really an investment, because when our environment is, I mean, if we destroy the environment, how do we survive?
Yeah, there was a commissioner cutting trees there. If anybody wants to meet you, are you gonna have any events? Are you doing any cafecito time?
So I know I'll be speaking at some a couple forums. I have to look in my phone and my calendar for the specific dates, and you know, different debates.
And I'll post it for the community.
Yeah, absolutely, I will do that. Thank you. And you know, like I said, I mean, I have all my contact information online. I literally wear a business card bracelet, and so everybody that I speak to when I'm walking around, I tap my bracelet onto their phone,
and everything comes out.
And then I have the matching QR code, like printed on my business cards. So it has my website, it has my email, my campaign advisor's email, my environmental advisor's email, you know, my phone number, everything. I mean,
that's the purpose we did the podcast, because we wanted to bring the candidates, because a lot of people ask me, I have my own business for 13 years, and I have a lot of women clients, and they tell me, who should I vote for? I don't know who this person is, I don't know my candidates, I don't know this. So I'm like, this room got empty, and I go, you know what, I'm going to bring the candidates for them to explain themselves, you know, talk about themselves, their ideas, their policy, and then people can take it from there.
I love that, you know, it's like, that's something you really gotta, sometimes you just have to be the person that is like, you know, I see a problem, let me fix it.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Because with debates, we really don't get to know anybody.
Yeah,
we saw a debate at 7, I saw a debate at 8, and it's only 1 minute. And when the person was already like getting hyped, like to finish their sentence, okay, your time's up.
And like, you see how long we've been speaking, and like how much time going into explain just like even a portion of just like how these mobile units would work. I mean, you see this. I mean, this is
I don't know if this is my copy, but I want to.
You can have it. You can have it. I can print another one. It's fine. Okay, yeah. You can absolutely. You can honestly.
But I would like for you to sit down with the CEO from Survivor Pathway.
Yeah.
I think you guys will collab, because he does the same thing with the, you know, STDs. And he's there in Brickell, actually.
Okay.
And Francisco, he's super nice. He just opened another house, a little house in Hialeah, and he was opening one in Homestead. And, you know, anybody can get free testing. If you're a domestic violence trafficking victim, they help you to go on the right
That's
pathway.
Actually the other units that I have, the crisis, like non-emergency, or, you know, non-violent emergency crisis response units, where I want to specifically help domestic violence victims, and I want to, you know, really, we would have training with like autism. So because my youngest son is autistic, and he has a high elopement risk, and so dealing with that when he was younger was, oh my God, terrifying. I actually found out my son had autism when I woke up one day, and he was sick. We go to bed at 6 a.m, and at 7 a.m. I get out of bed. I get 1 hour sleep, and my door is wide open, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Your door at the front door?
Yeah, and he had pulled up a chair, nonverbal, never done anything like this before, just pulled up a chair, got up, undid the deadbolt. He was maybe 2. And thank God for my dog at the time. Our dog literally followed him.
Oh, wow. And your dog's the one who told you.
And I was like, oh, thank God. And he stayed with him, and I'm like, but I mean, it was terrifying. And I mean,
we just had a podcast about autism, and the doctors explain why they leave in the middle of the night.
It's, oh my gosh. I mean, if I tell you the things I had to do to make sure that my son was safe, just to keep him alive because of this elopement issue, the middle of the night thing is crazy. I started putting bolts in, and he literally pulled the door. So once he got the locks unlocked, and so then I literally drilled into the metal part of the frame, like a literal like lock that you flip over like this, and then put a key, the master key lock through it. And then there were times I've had to flip the bedroom door lock around. Well, not the bedroom door, because in the house at the time he had his room, his brother's room, and the bathroom, and then there was a door here. So I tried putting a little chain lock on it so he just couldn't go and leave out, because we lived on the water at the time. I mean,
oh my God.
Yeah.
And autism kids, they love the water.
And he really loved the alligators. He names all of them Mike and Michael. I don't know why, but he has a thing for alligators named Mike. And he always wanted to go to go to these alligators. I'm like, no. So at this point, I'm like, okay, well, if this is where we're living right now, like, I have to find a way to make this safe. And I know people thought I was crazy, like, you turn the lock around on the door. I'm like, well, he can get to the bathroom. I'm literally in my room. My door's on the other side of this. But his life is at risk when he can go out that front door and drown. When he can go get hit by a car, wander off to the main roads, it's not worth the risk. I'd rather lock this door and keep him safe, and it's definitely not.
You hook up with like 3 doors.
That's what I'm saying. I literally, like, in the hallway, the door, put on a door handle, like, with a lock on the outside to lock it from the living room, dining room area. And because I'm like, well, he hopefully sleeps through the night. Mm-hmm. But it saved his life several times, thankfully, because there were times he did go to wander. I would keep a camera in his room mounted in the corner, and then, like, in the hallway right there. And so also, if he needed to get to me, like, I have, cameras set up, so I can always immediately, anytime there's motion or sound when he's supposed to be I'm a light sleeper, and I wake up immediately and I'll go, and I get up and check on him through the night thing. And he's gotten so much better about it now that he's gotten a little older. He's actually the son that you met at the forum. So
you have 2 sons or 1?
2.
2.
I have 2, and so Grayson's gotten way better about it, but it's very difficult. And
he was the one who was filming him?
Yes.
Oh, he's so cute. He was like, am I in your way? I'm like, no.
It's my boo. I love him. He's such a sweet boy. He really is.
He really is, yes. And you can tell he's proud of his mama. Because the way he was looking at you, he's like, home, It's super nice. I love it.
Friends.
We had a podcast on Wednesday with a doctor from autism. She explains everything. It's her daughter's autism, and she did it a couple times.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's, we say autism awareness, but I don't think that we really have the understanding. We're aware it exists, obviously, but people don't understand. And then we have so many autistic children drowning. I mean, every other day it's in the news. And really, I think that if as the city, if you have water here and there is residential zoning right here, we have to be putting up fences. We have to put gates up, and we need more nonprofits or organizations or some sort of grants available to families who, with autism within there, so that they can afford, because a lot of times you're like, oh, well, they blame the parent. Oh, why didn't you do that? This is because what were they supposed to do? Fences are expensive. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're not cheap to have built. And so it's not like people can just wake up, they have a kid and then they find out their kid has autism, and then they're like, oh, let me go spend, like $15,000, $20,000, $10,000.
And there's not proper training for them. Now there's a little bit more. When we were younger, there was only 1 child in the whole Kendall that was autism. Now there's more increasing, and I don't think there's enough sources to help parents or
so
teachers. Officers don't know how to handle autism people or kids either.
And it really
I saw a video of an officer losing his temper.
Oh, it's terrifying. It's one of my biggest fears, because my son, you see, he's so sweet. He is not he's not violent. I mean, he is just the most kind, gentle soul. So sweet. But if you can't identify the difference between a violent person and an autistic person having a meltdown,
right,
we're in for a world of trouble.
Yeah.
Because my son would never intentionally harm somebody, but you know, I remember his first meltdown. I immediately knew, I'm like, this isn't a temper tantrum. This is something else. And he was almost 2 at that point, and I remember he was like hitting himself in the head. He was bright red. He was screaming. You know, he didn't really talk at that point. He still wasn't really talking, but he was just crying hysterically. And the little sounds he would make with me, like he couldn't. He just, it was, I mean, he was terrified. It was fear. Mm-hmm. It made me cry.
Yeah.
And I remember I grabbed him and I just hugged him and I'm like, it's okay, it's okay. And he started clawing on me and hitting me. And this is, I mean, a baby is my best friend. He would never hurt me. I knew that something was wrong in that moment. And so I let him do it. I didn't get angry. And this went on, it was his first meltdown. And this went on for about an hour. And we had our own language because he was nonverbal until he was about 3. He just made sounds, but I realized his sounds always were the same sounds for different things, so I just kind of I adjusted to his language. Uh-huh. So I learned to communicate with him, but I mean, even he stopped with that, and he just was like, and all he said was no. That's, you know, it was really bad. But cops, you know, I would hate to see somebody who's not educated or not trained in dealing with autism, and that's actually the crisis response units. Why I really want that in there, because I don't ever want to see the day that my son becomes a victim because he is overwhelmed, because he has this sensory processing disorder as well, and the lights were too bright or the sounds were too loud, or there were too many people, and he starts like yelling, and now they're like, oh, well, you're disrupting, you know, like, and he doesn't understand, because, you know, in autism, a lot of the time is like, things are very black and white. Like, if you know something goes this way, or like if your routine and schedule, things are thrown off, I mean, it's like shattering for your day, you know? Yeah. And I don't want my son to be that person who freaks out one day, who melts down, who has a sensory overload. And it's literally like, he's not hearing the words you're saying. Yeah. You know, he's not a threat to you or a danger to you, but he's scared. And I don't want, I've seen, you know, where kids, you know, even adults with autism, they've been shot, they've been hurt, they've been hit. I don't ever want to be my son. Yeah. So that's obviously, it's a big issue for me. And that's why one of the big reasons I wanted this response unit was for autism training and people who specialize in this, or who would be willing to undergo courses to learn, you know, and show up when there is a situation with an autistic child or adult, or when an autistic child has eloped, and, you know, people who know a little bit more, like, let's look here, or like, how do I approach this individual? Because, you know, I know with my son, a lot of the times when he elopes, in the middle of the night, I have no clue what was going on in his head when he would try. But when it happens to this day, it's usually because he's overwhelmed. You know, for years he couldn't go into Target. We
learned something new about you today. That's why it's important to do these podcasts. Now autism moms are going to be looking at you and like, oh wow, she understands us.
Oh yeah. And then my oldest son actually has one of the rarest genetic disorders in medical history. There's 1 to 200 people in medical history. So he is, he'll be 11 in February, and he wears a size 4T. So he's about 30 pounds and like this tall. And he probably, I mean, honestly, he told me when I was pregnant, he was incompatible with life. And everybody said, get an abortion. They said, oh, well, he'll never make it. And then it was, oh, well, if he's born, he'll be stillborn. Then he came out like, well, he's breathing now, but he'll probably won't make it a day. And then it was, 3 days in a week. And then here we are, he's almost 11. And this, other than, you know, his size and whatnot, I mean, he is just like any other little boy his age.
I didn't know.
Yeah, my oldest son is a high energy. He wants to run and jump. He does jujitsu. And he's actually, because of his size, it's it's beneficial for him. He's taking down kids twice his size. It's a little wild.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, Joey. You know, like, so he just lives his normal life, and these, you know, I was refused treatment by almost every single OBGYN through Florida. I had to go to Shands because they have the highest level NICU in the Southeast, and I had to have him at Shands in Jacksonville specifically for that NICU. And I would have to go every Monday. I'd fit all my appointments for the week, and so every Monday I would have to go to 3 appointments. So I basically sit there all day. And then so we obviously had to schedule induction because I had to, you know, go over there and whatnot. But that's the only physician who agreed to take me on for prenatal care was that. Actually, I was at an OBGYN, and when his genetic markers came back for what he has, they were like, they're like, you support an abortion, but that's about it. And when I refused an abortion, no doctor would treat me.
See, and now he's your little angel.
He's something.
That he takes pictures of his mom.
Oh no, that's the younger one. My oldest son is actually like half his size. Yeah, he's very, very, very small, very small. He's definitely my little warrior. He is the outspoken, tough. He's tough.
Thank you so much for coming. We wish you the best, and when you have the events, let me know for people to go and meet you.
Yes, thank you so much. I will definitely let you know. Yeah, absolutely.